All right, y'all. Welcome to Ask Attica. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Friday morning. As I often say, I'm here on my lunch hour. If you're here on your lunch hour, fantastic. I'm honored today to be here with Miss Bianca Austin of Families United. Just one of my favorite people. I love the work that you're doing in our
Thank
community.
you.
And we're going to talk to Miss Bianca about some things she has coming up. Of course, we're going to talk about 2020. But I want to start with a question that I love asking some of my favorite people. The question, Miss Bianca, welcome,
Thank
is
you. Thanks for having me.
of course, what is bringing you joy today?
It's hard to look for joy in times of, grief and tragedy but I will say it has to be my grandbaby.
Oh,
So my little genie baby, my best friend,
mm,
makes me, give me a new purpose.
yes.
So she does bring me a lot of joy, I should say
Oh,
that. And food, always,
mhm,
of course,
mhm, yes,
comfort food.
yes, yes, yes.
But yes, just continue to wake up every morning and
Mhm,
be blessed and,
mhm.
living my purpose.
I love
So
that. A woman after my own heart because food,
yeah.
listen, I'm telling you,
I
that brings me
can't.
joy.
Ooh,
A
it's
good
gonna be my
meal,
downfall,
listen,
boy.
listen, it's all right. It's all right. And of course, we're at Black Coffee, which has some really good
Yeah,
food. So
absolutely,
probably gonna grab
absolutely.
me some when we're
Yeah,
done.
black coffee too, mind
Get black, yes,
you.
black coffee too. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Um, so speaking of joy, and more uh, good times and fun times, can you tell us about maybe one of your most memorable, funny, exciting, hilarious moments with your niece Brianna?
Oh man. Let me tell you something I ain't told you before.
Okay.
Uh, Maybe one of the times that I can remember me and Tahasha, we was out at the gas station and come over and it was a Saturday. We was, we like to go shopping and we was at the gas station getting some gas and we was in her car. And as I was pumping the gas, I can hear back a car comes up to the light and they was playing my song Biggie Smalls and Lil Kim,
Uh huh.
and so I'm thinking like, Lynn, remember when you said you would, and then I look over and I'm like, wait a minute, is that my car? Is that Brianna? Homegirl was in my car. She was at the light bopping. Like, I mean, she had to be maybe 14 at
Oh
the
my.
time.
Oh wait. So
So
you didn't know she had your car?
no, no, no,
Oh.
no, no. So I was just like,
And she
oh
was too young to
wow.
be driving.
And she was
I love
way
it
too
all.
young to be driving. Yeah.
Now did she see
So,
you?
and it was like a new, no, she didn't even see us. So, cause she was too busy with the music. I mean, she was getting it. So, and then later that evening, I didn't even really say nothing
Uh huh.
because, I would let her sneak and drive in the parking lot
Mhm.
anyway.
Mhm.
But when I saw her at the light, I said, "Yeah, you doing too much. You
Right.
gonna get me caught. It's
Yeah.
bad enough already. If your mama find out."
Yes.
But yeah, that was probably one of the most hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
She didn't deny it
Okay.
though.
Okay.
So, but that was probably one of the most hilarious ones. I was thinking I'm at like I
Yeah.
turned around and I saw my car like, hey, that's
You're
my
right.
car, and it was,
I love
it was
that.
her. So,
And I love
but
the
yeah.
relationship where she felt comfortable saying,
Oh
being
yeah,
honest, right? Like,
yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I did.
Honestly,
You know?
we have to. Yeah.
Yes.
She was
Yes.
an honest person though. She was a
Mhm.
sweetheart. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I love
we
that.
was all close. So we had to always be honest with each other because
Mhm.
they gonna find out anyway. So
Mhm.
might as well just don't let us hear
Yes.
it.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, I love that. But thank you for
So
sharing that
yeah, you're
story.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a break, y'all. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about some things that Bianca has coming up here soon. So thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to Skills for Life, located at 204 East Jacob Street.
I love that. She's holding on.
Here at Skills for Life, we offer services 6 months to 12-year-olds.
Tell me what this is. This is the what? The front of the book,
With a warming environment,
back
a
of the
comforting
book,
atmosphere,
and the
with therapy
side.
services, social emotional learning, plant-based meals, and more.
Parents can look forward to having their children in a safe environment.
Join us at Skills for Life.
So you cannot check.
We have a plant-based diet that we serve, meals that we serve to our children, and they can expect that their children are safe and loved.
And for more information, call us at 502-822-3975.
All right, y'all, welcome back. I'm here with Bianca Austin, who I want to ask about some work that you're doing now with Families United. I
Okay.
was very fortunate to attend one of your panel discussions back in
Okay.
January at
Yeah.
Roots 101, and I would love for people to learn more about that work.
Families United was an organization started through the founder Jacob Blake Sr. His son was shot in the back 7 times in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Shout out to you, little Jake.
Yes.
So during our fight for Brianna and his son. We traveled around the world, standing in solidarity with many families, advocating, just trying to find our niche and how we can kind of fill the gaps. And then we formed Families United. So it's just a grassroots foundation that we take the work that we're doing in our community and
Hmm.
amplifying it.
Okay.
Lots of times, a lot of people can't see. Um, put the pieces together because they're a part of the puzzle. And
Hmm.
sometimes it just takes, somebody from the outside to come in and, just organize it and
Hmm.
be a voice of reason and, kind of just help out in any way I can. So, and of course, just, pushing legislation for Brianna. We started with the No Knock Warrants.
Yes.
You was a big part of that back in 2020.
Hmm.
So just it started with that and just getting different cities to get on board
Hmm.
with that. And then, a mirror lock happened in Minnesota. So that law just became more important along with the Policing Act for George Floyd, or the
Yes.
George Floyd Policing Act, I should say.
Hmm.
Um, but with that being said, yeah, and we just been, just here and there, everywhere.
Hmm.
It's a heavy load because in this work you don't really have many resources or people with an understanding of what it's like to um, advocate for families that's affected by police.
Hmm.
So I know March 13th, I would never forget. Like it was just like they handed you this little business card, and it's like y'all just what's going like how is what the process was just mind blowing,
Hmm.
right? So just getting answers from my sister and just
Yes.
seeing her in that vulnerable state, just that
Hmm.
fire in me just pissed me off, and
Hmm.
I've been pissed off ever since. I
Hmm.
feel like so.
Hmm. Yes.
So to that energy, my fight, my
Hmm.
I've put that in my advocacy work,
Hmm.
so that's what Families United is about.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And you said, being pissed off, right? And I appreciate you saying that because as a black woman, I feel like sometimes we're told, calm down, sit
Oh
down, be
yeah.
quiet,
Oh
stop
man.
protesting.
Mhm.
But to hear you say publicly, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, I
Like we need
am.
to
Like
we
I'm
need
like
to
I
hear
can't
that,
even hold
right?
it in. Yeah.
Right. We need to hear that
Mhm.
from you
Yeah.
because you carry
Mhm.
weight in our community and
Yeah.
you're a voice that people listen to. And by you saying that, it gives many of us permission to be like, yes, I'm
Yeah.
pissed,
Yeah. And we
right?
should be because it's gonna only. It's not. I mean, it's been 5 years, and although we have done great strides, made great changes, and continue to do it, it's still these moments where you get slapped in the face
Yes.
with this,
Yeah.
stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, but yeah, so it's very important that I have to remain authentic. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And that's kind of one of the challenges in being in a movement because people see you on TV and
Mm-hmm.
expect you to be, or what I'm saying, their expectations of you. But you have to show people like, no, I'm life ain't just like you. I
Yes.
don't know what you saw on TV, and a lot of people is misinformed. So when you
Mm-hmm.
travel and you get to know people, and you be like, well, yeah, I heard, and you
Right.
be like, that ain't what happened. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes me also continue to tell
Mm-hmm.
Brianna's story
Yes.
because if you go back to March 13th and look at that just the day
Mm-hmm.
period on the videotapes and the
Mm-hmm.
lives,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you would be like, we need to continue,
That's
the
right.
work must continue. So part of her legacy, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to make sure we keep continue to do the work, and
Yes.
we do it honorable,
Mm-hmm.
and give her something to look down and be proud on.
That's
So
right.
absolutely.
And you mentioned the legacy. When we take another break, I'm going to find a comment that someone wanted to share with you on TikTok because
Okay.
5 years later, just the impact
Mhm.
that the movement for justice for Breonna Taylor had. the work that you and your family have been doing still
Mhm.
has an impact on people. So I want to
Oh,
share that with you when
absolutely.
we
I
come back.
love that.
Um, so next week is May 28th.
Yes.
That was an important date in 2020.
Yes.
Can you talk about why May 28th, 2020 was important, and what are you doing this year to commemorate that date?
My personal. Okay, I'm gonna give you my
Okay.
personal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't know if I told this story before, but I'll give y'all. Uh, I'll never forget it. I think we had just I had just got off work. And we had just all was in the living room. Uh, Kenny was in jail. We had just got off the phone with him, and we was watching the news. Actually, we was watching the news, and Tamika phone blowing up, of course, blowing up, and I could hear her saying, "What? What you mean?" And it was Mayor Fisher, and he was asking her if he can send her a car or something to come make a statement, and we
Mm-hmm.
like. I'm like, hell no, ain't
Mm-hmm.
nobody, I ain't going
Mm-hmm.
nowhere with him. But
Right.
anyway, and they was like, turn on TV. And I mean, it was just chaos. It was just chaos. And he was like telling her to come make a statement and tell people to go back in their house and be peaceful. And I'm over here like, yeah, like sometimes I've been waiting on this. Like they finally get it. Like it was like a breath of fresh air. It was like our feelings was validated.
Mm-hmm.
Our everything was validated.
Wow.
Like once they heard, I think they played that 911 tape
Yes.
of Kenny that day, and they could just hear, and it just
Mm-hmm.
validated. It was
Mm-hmm.
like yes, like let's
Mm-hmm.
go,
The
like
agony in his
the
voice.
yes, and it was just like yes,
Mm-hmm.
now we
Mm.
cooking, now we getting somewhere, now
Mm.
they hear us,
Yes.
now because it was March 13th, that was
Mm-hmm.
3 months
Mm-hmm.
of like just watching Tamika just mope around and
Mm-hmm.
no answers yet, no
Mm-hmm.
nothing. She it was just rough, and to
Mm-hmm.
finally feel like okay, they believe us now
Yes.
because it was a lot of rumors.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of rumors. It was
Mm-hmm.
even hard to plan Brianna's funeral because of
Mm.
COVID. It was a lot of things
Yes.
that was transpiring that we was up against.
Mm-hmm.
So May 28th was very important,
Mm.
and it wasn't just it was about it was the younger people though,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
we saw C-Ted holding up that mega bus,
Mm.
and
Mm.
she was like, "Sit down, y'all ain't going out there," and I'm like, "Yeah, bullshit."
Right.
So, but yeah, it was just it was good, and just
Mm.
it was just the start of the movement.
Yes.
It was a start. That's how it started.
Yes.
And I want people to see 5 years later how we
Yes.
progressed.
And before you talk about
Okay.
next week, first of all, you're right. It was a movement.
Mhm.
And I need people to understand that it was a movement
Movement.
for
Yeah.
justice for Breonna Taylor,
Yeah.
but it also connected, like you said, everything else that was happening
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah.
It was all
Because it was an
connected.
upper. Yeah. Remember,
Exactly.
Ahmaud Arbery was first in 2020. Let's talk about.
Right.
We were still kind of like, man, this man got killed just for running, and it was still that had happened,
Mhm.
and we were still like, wow, trying to figure out
Mhm.
information about that, and then Brianna happened, but COVID. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
COVID just kind of people were scared,
Yes.
but COVID was real at the same
Right.
time.
Mhm.
So I mean, just think. I worked in the hospital. Tamika
Mm.
worked in the hospital. My
Mhm.
sister worked. We all worked in hospitals.
Right.
So the demand at the time, we already was
Yes.
essential workers.
Exactly.
So we was already working 60
Mhm.
hours a week,
Mhm.
dealing with COVID patients. You know what I'm saying? So we wouldn't expect nothing
Mm.
like that to happen to
Right.
Brianna when we know she at work most of the time. So
Right.
just crazy her day off.
Mhm.
That she finally gets to relax. Like she
Mhm.
don't even.
And she was an essential worker.
Yeah, she worked two jobs. She worked
Look
for
at
U
that.
of L Health and she worked for Norton. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a lot. So
Yes.
in one of the videos, her EMT jacket was hanging up, and they thought
Mm.
it was one of the workers,
Mm.
and then they realized it was her.
Mm.
So that's why I always,
Yes.
I put her little jacket up in the case, like, yeah, she
Mhm.
was one of y'all. She got
Mhm.
sworn in on the same stage
Mm.
as all y'all, and
Right.
just think she didn't get no medical treatment. They left her laying there,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So.
Mm,
That's a whole nother subject. But yeah.
exactly. Okay. So that's May
So
28th, 2020, and that's when a lot of us
yeah,
were, I don't know what the
yeah,
word, ignited,
yeah,
right? The
yeah.
spark was like lit under us.
Right.
It was like, oh,
Wait a minute.
what in the world?
Yeah.
Because also, to be honest with you, we don't hear black men cry much,
Mm.
right? We don't.
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
to have heard
Mm-hmm.
the agony in Kenneth Walker's voice, the
Mm-hmm.
emotional breakdown, I think that
It's
broke a
deep.
lot of us,
Yeah.
right? We were like,
Hmm.
oh,
Everybody was crying.
everybody,
Everybody,
not a
everybody
dry
was,
eye.
man, listen,
Yes.
not a, man. It was,
Yes.
that day, it's emotional, and that's,
Hmm.
that's why it's important that we have to acknowledge our feelings,
Yes.
um, and we growing, we
Yes.
learning, so,
Yes.
and it still hurt, it's
Hmm.
still like, it's gonna be forever,
Hmm.
like, and it's like, you can't get over something like that,
That's
like,
right.
you can't just get over it,
Hmm.
like, you
Hmm.
can't just move on from it. You can
Yes.
try to live, the best, live with
Hmm.
it and just deal with it, but ain't no moving on. Ain't no.
Right.
It's the damage is done.
That's right.
So.
That's right. And you said something else, which, if you don't mind, if you feel
Mhm.
comfortable talking about it, what is that burden to be called on to make statements all the time? What is that like for
Man,
you
I
and
don't.
your family?
It's I try to be the voice of reason because I know my sister is it's just not her thing to and. But like I said, it's the expectation. Sometimes it's hard. It's hard to take your emotions out of it. That's why, like, I tell people at the end of the day, I'm strong enough because I didn't lose a child,
Mm,
right? And I don't do things that I can never go through what she's going through,
mm-hmm,
right? I don't want to, right?
yes.
And I see it, and so I kind of like
Mm-hmm,
shy away and just like, hey, okay, okay, girl, I'm always, but that that gives me the opportunity to say, because I'm a little sensitive. I'm gonna
yes.
just say what I'm gonna say
Yes.
regardless. But
Yes.
now, it just, it just gave me opportunity to step up because
Mm-hmm,
you're always in the shadow as
mm-hmm,
your sister. So
mm-hmm.
it's hard for people to see, like, well, not hard, but people see she got support. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? She got support. She's good. You know what I'm saying? So take it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm,
Things like even this, uh, the DOJ not, moving forward.
mm-hmm.
It's like she knows about it. She was
Yes.
warned about it, but
Mm-hmm.
does it make it any better? Does it soften the
Mm,
blow? You
mm.
know what I'm saying? Does it make you feel good? No,
Right.
it doesn't.
Right.
She still has to process her emotions about
Mm-hmm,
it, and as respectfully,
mm-hmm.
just let people, you know, grieve, like
That's right.
grief. So
Exactly.
you can't teach people grief.
That's
I
right.
don't, so
Yes.
and it's hard to grieve when you constantly
Mm.
getting reminded,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
got be the person in the forefront, or people expect you to be that strong voice.
Yes.
So it's hard.
Yes.
So yeah.
Mm. And
Mm.
stop always calling on black women and black mamas to
Yeah,
calm
that's a
people
big,
down,
yeah, that's what
because
I'm
then
saying.
you make us the bad
Mhm.
guy,
Mhm.
right? Because
Right.
it's like,
Right.
oh, not
Right.
my own people telling me
Mhm.
to calm down and be
Yeah.
quiet, sit
Yeah.
down. Just
Yeah.
stop that.
And I
Uh,
tell people to be good, but they be like, but Miss Tamika, I said, you gotta understand, she looks at things a whole lot different than So,
mhm,
but sometimes she needs to just be explained things too,
mhm,
because a lot of people just assume.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? Nobody really talks to her. Nobody really
mhm,
calls her, asks her.
mhm.
Like, what can we do? It's
Yes.
always she got to find out, something on social media or something
Mhm,
happened. So I get it. It's
mhm.
always like that burden. Like,
Yeah.
my daughter's always constantly praying for me.
Yes.
So I just try to give her grace and let her, if she open and willing to do stuff and come
Mhm,
out, make sure she's supported. And just try to let her, get back on track living life.
mhm.
At the end of the day, we all have to be employed, and
Right.
make a living.
Yes.
So I
That's
think we
right.
forget about that too.
That's right.
So yeah, it's hard. It's hard
Mm,
finding balance,
mhm,
balance. So
mhm, mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Well, before we go on a break, I want to ask you about, so that we don't lose the May 28th
Okay.
conversation. What's happening next week, May 28th?
Oh, May 28th. So May 28th is the day the movement happened here in Louisville. So it's important because I want people to understand what a movement is. We have
Mm,
to educate and learn, right?
yes.
Um, it's a lot of good, bad, and ugly that have happened the past 5 years. Me personally, I see a lot of people who took a stand, who didn't have no direction, no real support, no real resources, and they made a way, right?
Mhm,
But we don't know how to communicate with each other. We
mhm,
don't know how to validate each other's feelings. We don't know how to correspond. And you know what I'm saying? So I feel like we need more structure. We have to overcome what we've been through.
mhm,
So if we can overcome and a lot of it's petty, right?
mhm.
And so much good has came from Breeway. Breeway is Breonna Taylor.
Mm,
I don't know if y'all remember back after that. We did a press conference. We asked the news if we can identify Brianna because it was just, I don't know, I think a young lady or a trap queen. I don't know,
yes.
it was something in the
Mhm, mhm.
something that they
Yes.
were making up, but and Tamika wanted to be the one to tell these
Mm,
people who Brianna was and who they
mhm,
killed.
mhm,
So, and then we came up with a hashtag at the time because that was trending, like hashtags. We saw
mhm,
Ahmaud Aubrey, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin do the hashtag. So
mhm,
we just thinking like something different. What would Brianna want us to say? That's what we were
mm.
sitting around. What would Brianna want us to do?
Yes.
So it was hashtag Breeway.
Mm.
It was two E's and two Y's because she extra. You know what I'm saying? If you look back, I had a shirt with Breeway. I had some lashes on it. It's because she loved her. She
Mm.
loved. She was a girly girl,
Yes.
so she loved to look good and be extra and cute and stuff like that. So we wanted, something, a hashtag, and I want people to know, like, when they hear that, that's a
Mm,
representation of Brianna, right?
mm.
And I want to just restructure that because I feel like it's a lot of it's a
Mhm.
lot of stuff going
Yes.
around, and it's just not true. People
Mhm.
are misinformed. So it's a day to remember,
Okay.
give each other's grace,
Mhm.
give an opportunity for us to rebuild our resources,
Mm.
to connect with one another,
Yes.
um, to listen to our community leaders on what's the next steps for us, and we're
Mhm.
also going to be pushing this people's consent decree.
Okay. Okay.
Like we feel like even though he's got something printed out here, there still needs to be a level of community that's
Right.
committed to what he has. And
Mhm.
there's a coalition of people who've been working on the People's Consent Decree
Mhm.
for the past 3 years,
Mhm.
and it's just a slap in the face for him to uh, make a commitment without um, referring to the people who's actually been to the Metro Council
That's right.
meeting, been putting in the resolutions.
Mhm.
We got a new resolution that needs to
Mhm.
be passed. So we really want to amplify and get our council members on board with what's going on in our community, and our input should matter. Like
Mhm.
we really need people in those seats to hear our voices,
Yes.
and if they don't start making changes or can agree and vote on things that the community needs and
Mhm.
not vote on what Greg Fisher or the mayor or the
Mhm.
police chief can come in and throw at them.
Yes.
It needs to be what Trump said, equalizing, some
Mm.
type of equalizing
Mm.
going on
Mhm.
here. So, and that's on our mission too. So
Okay.
hopefully, we'd be able to build resources, build community, and
Mhm.
most important, another reason that this consent decree is important to us because it provides resources,
Yes.
like
Mhm.
mental health, like stuff
Mhm.
that we need funding for,
That's right.
really, that pertains to the work that we're doing because
Mhm.
we don't get enough of therapy and,
Mm.
ways of resources,
Yes.
ways that we know what self love is, what
Mhm.
self care is,
Yes.
and it's okay to take a break and step away.
Mhm.
Like I heard earlier, the lady said, "Oh, I've been gone for a minute. I've been having this, and I lost this person." And it's like, "It's okay, sweetheart.
Yes.
We ain't forgot about
Right.
you. Yeah, we glad you
Exactly.
back.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's okay to, sometimes to,
Mhm.
take a seat.
Mhm.
Be quiet.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
yeah. So,
And I love
uh,
I love what you just said
mm,
about the saying, "Hey, we're glad you're back," because
yeah,
So often, especially as a former elected official, when I was in office, and even now that I'm out, people will say, "Well, you didn't show up at XYZ.
Mm.
How about changing that up and
Yeah,
say,
like we,
miss
yeah,
seeing
I
you
miss
at,"
seeing you, right? Like I
because
didn't come just not on purpose. I don't think people
exactly,
realize
yes,
like we just ain't on the couch. Like I mean we
yeah,
on the couch now, but
right, yeah,
we ain't always on the couch.
yes,
Like
yes,
we really ripping and running and working and doing so.
exactly,
But
exactly,
people, we gotta learn how to, like when it's all in
yes,
communication and understanding,
yes,
right?
yes,
So, and that expectation again,
hmm,
it's like, oh, I saw Attica, why she ain't here?
yeah,
Why she ain't done my event? Why
right,
she? Oh, people do that all the time.
yes,
I'm like, I'm sorry, when your next one? Girl,
you're
I got
right,
you. I'll be
yes,
there. I
exactly.
got you. Call
Yes,
me. No.
yes, exactly. All right, well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk more about your advocacy
Okay.
and activism since 2020. We'll talk more about the Louisville's consent decree and a whole bunch of other topics. So we'll see y'all back here in just a little bit.
Through every note, every performance, the arts connect us. The arts connect us through joy and through awe, bridging cultures and generations. From intimate theaters to the grandest stages, the arts bring us together, reminding us that we're never truly alone. When we experience the arts, we experience each other. Kentucky Performing Arts. The arts connect us.
Hey guys, before we get back to the live stream, I'm Tracy, the bartender at Southern Hospitality Bar and Grill, located at 3402 West Broadway. You guys got to come and check us out. You can call your order in, and the phone number is 502-822-1474. Again, I'm Tracy, the bartender at Southern Hospitality. Come check us out, guys.
Hey, I know you're watching the live stream right now, but I want to take a moment to tell you to check out this new book right here over my shoulder. Believe me, it'll be worth it.
All right, y'all, welcome back. We're here with Miss Bianca Austin, Families United. I wanted to ask you, Bianca, for folks who want to put it in their calendars, can you give us the details, date, time, place of what's
Okay, yeah,
happening next week?
absolutely. It's going to be Wednesday, May 28th. We asked if you have any resources or anything to provide free of services or something you want to make people aware of, please join us. We're going to be have tabling from noon to 4. So, and we're going to be giving away prizes. We'll have kids activities. So please bring the kids down. Maybe you never know if there could be a service for summer camp or anything like that. We'll have some light music DJ at 4 o'clock. We'll have a special memorial service for our fallen members of the community who we lost during the protest. And then after that, we'll have some powerful community members come up and speak. Breeway has their own entertainment, so you don't want to miss. We got Hannah Drake doing poems. We got the Young Prodigy, as they always come, show up, show out. Who else we? I mean, it's so much. So we just want to come and just think of it as a backyard boogie.
Yeah, all right, backyard boogie, love it, love
But
it.
yeah, come out Wednesday. We'll be there starting at 12. If you want more details, you can email me at familiesunitedapb@gmail.com. Or you can follow me on Facebook, Bianca Austin. And we also have a Facebook, Families United, too. So you can follow that page. Yeah, so be sure to come out, connect with us. And let's build community and see how we can all move forward and
Hmm.
work together,
Okay,
all
and
that
this
good
is
stuff.
downtown,
This
correct?
is downtown
Yes,
in Justice Square.
yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
awesome. All right, so
Six
if
and
you
Jefferson.
Six and Jefferson. So those of you who may work for nonprofits, social service agencies, you have some resources, tools, information that folks could benefit from. Please come out and do some tabling to get your information out there. It's a wonderful opportunity, an important opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk, Bianca, how about your advocacy? So from 2020 to today, how has your advocacy changed?
Um, Over the years, I must say I learned a lot.
Hmm.
I've met some amazing people. Um, Given the opportunity, some just growth too. I think I've matured a lot in the past 5 years, so I'll give myself a pat on
That's
that.
right.
So, yeah, and then I think I've found my purpose.
Mm,
Um, I'm at the age now, I turned 40, and I just get my knees getting bad. So
right.
I have to find it, like I said, it's therapy for me too.
Yes.
So to be able to process things and help people.
Hmm.
I've been in healthcare all my life since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, it was always I want to be a nurse.
Really?
And now it's just like I found a new purpose in life.
Okay.
So I want to kind of, venture out on my own,
Hmm.
and that's why family united is important. So
Okay.
it's just my way of giving back,
Mm.
my advocacy,
Hmm.
and just things that I like to just do a little twist and do
Excuse me.
things different. Just having a 12-year-old son,
Mm.
teaches me a lot too. So I have to learn ways to communicate with him. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? So I have to learn how to way do things different.
Hmm.
So just finding ways to connect with the youth
Yes.
is rough. And I'm a person of I'm considered mean, but I'm also considered
Really?
reasonable. Yes.
I
People in
don't see
my
it at
family think
all.
I'm mean.
Really? Okay. Well,
Oh
we are
yeah.
different with our families.
I don't know
Okay.
what
Okay.
everybody think I'm mean. I'm the one everybody try to hide stuff from, but then I be like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why ain't nobody telling
Mm.
me?
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Why everybody
Right.
telling me about it? Because they don't want to hear the truth anyway.
Hmm.
But no, like just yeah, just growth and just learning my ancestors.
Mm.
When you get up there, Y- yeah,
Okay.
you get more spiritual, and
Yes.
you find out, your history. It
Hmm.
makes you dig deep into who you
Mm.
really are,
Yes.
and and what you want to
Yes.
leave behind, and what's important to you to leave in your legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I won't be here
Right.
as well too. So I
That's
want
right.
to make sure I have a foundation.
That's
So
right.
that's important as well. But yeah,
Wow.
over I think we made a lot of strides, but they definitely kicking us back
Mhm.
down, and
Mhm. Doesn't it
we
feel
ain't
like
going
that?
back. We ain't going back
Listen.
though.
Listen. Have you seen the movie Sinners?
Yes,
Yeah, listen, that's a
yeah.
reminder. We're not going
Oh
back,
yeah, we're
just so
not.
y'all know.
Yeah, we're not.
Hmm.
Sorry. So.
So first of all, y'all forgive me. Ohio Valley, the allergies
Oh
kicking
yeah,
my butt.
mine is horrible too. So I probably sound like a mom.
So I keep
So
coughing. So please
yeah.
forgive me. Um, but you said something. You turned 40.
Mhm.
Listen, when you get there is something about getting to 40
I
and
don't know
beyond
who.
where it's a different level of maturity, where it's like, the things that used to stress you out back when, that you used to be
Just
petty
don't
about,
care.
you just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I got that. That's
Yeah.
fine. I'm gonna be good over here,
Okay.
so
Yes.
such a good point. Um, so we have the community commitment, which I don't know what community committed to this, but
I
there's
have
that.
no, just the LMPD
Listen
apparently.
to Louisville's consent decree. So finally, the federal government did what we expected, right? We
Yeah.
expected them to
Yeah.
drop
Mhm.
the consent decree with this new administration.
Mhm.
And now we have this community commitment. And I just have to say, y'all,
It was
I
already printed
get
though. It was already. Look, he
200
just announced
pages
it yesterday.
already printed, bound, ready to go. We know
Well,
this is not his copy, but I guarantee he has bound copies, ready to go. So that means for a while
for a
now
while.
that Mayor Greenberg has known, the Chief Humphrey has known. We
We
knew,
knew.
right, but didn't have the official feedback. So you created this, probably spent the past 5 months creating this with actually without the community
Community.
input.
Mhm.
So there's part of me that's saying that we don't have to accept this because we weren't a part of this.
Correct.
There's the other part of me that's saying, well, then we need to push to make
And
sure
pick it apart.
to pick it apart and say what's missing and what needs to be added
Absolutely.
to it. But anyway, I want to hear from you rather than me go on because I could talk about this all day. So I want to know from you, Bianca, um, where do you see us going from here? You talked about being part of the People's Consent Decree. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for being part of that coalition. Where I work full time at FGN, we're part of that coalition as well. So, can you talk about where we go from here, whether with that coalition or this Louisville Consent Decree with police accountability?
Um, before in before we can move forward, we have to have all parties involved. It's kind of like hard to move forward with the community when you got the police chief and the mayor producing their own commitment.
Hmm.
So that needs to start. It's just more transparency. It's not real. It's not that hard to have a conversation.
Mhm.
The people who are doing the work out here, we've been reaching out. We've
Mhm.
been crying. We've been crying to the Metro
Mhm.
Council. We've been trying to pass, a resolution. We've been trying, so we just need a little more commitment
Mhm.
from, our
Mhm.
Mayor Greenberg. Um, it's funny how he's at the time and place when it's popping and popular,
Mm. Yeah.
and the people need to see you in reality, in real
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
because a lot of lives are going to be affected by these changes,
Yes.
and people need to understand that uh, the people's consent decree is just not accountability for police officers, but it's resources for our community.
Mhm.
Like, there's jobs in here that could be
Mm.
created, that could
Yes.
be given to people in the community.
Mhm.
There's resources like mental
Mhm.
health therapists,
Mhm.
and there's a whole budget of line items
Yes.
that could be provided for us.
Mhm.
Do you know that there's still nothing offered to victims of police brutality, but the officers have full immunity to
Mm.
whatever resources they
Wow.
need? So, 5 years later, these officers, these police involved incidents,
Mhm.
they're taken care of, whereas
Mm.
we supposed to be the bad ones
Right.
when, we fell victim to this.
Mhm.
Like, at the end of the day, we are victims to
Mm.
you all uh, policing
Yes.
protocols,
Yes.
or whatever word you want to,
Mhm.
verbiage you would like to put there,
Mhm.
but we all can agree, even the officers that took the stand,
Mhm.
we all can agree that they shouldn't have been there that night.
Right.
And you can't shoot at what you can't see.
Mm.
Policy
Mm.
was not followed,
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
for him to create a policy,
Right.
it's just, I don't know. It's
Mhm.
just it's hard,
Mhm.
but we have to continue to dig at it, and push forward till we reach some type of mutual understanding and
Mhm.
agreement.
Mhm.
Because what you can't do is think you're going to continue to come into our neighborhood,
Right.
come into our spaces, and
Mm.
take credit for all this shit that you're not
Mm.
doing.
Mm.
Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense,
Right.
and us to continue to try to put the pieces together, and it's only that one piece
Mhm.
missing, and now we got to take the puzzle all back down,
Mhm.
try to redo it,
Mm.
and then it's the same piece missing.
Yes.
Every time we do it, and here we go again.
Every
Why?
time.
We need you.
Yes.
We need you to come and put that piece in the puzzle so we can
Mhm.
all go into the next chapter.
Mhm.
So because it's a lot of changes in our community that's going to
Yes.
happen by the end of 2026. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm.
So I want to prepare and have some type of resources for my people and
That's
my
right.
family. You know what I mean? Because they're taken care of.
Mm. Mm.
Do you understand what I'm
Yes.
talking about?
Yes.
They're taken care of. They're not
Absolutely.
going to have to worry about gas and food,
Oh.
because they got a whole new community center
Mm.
where they can go.
Mm.
We don't have that. So
No.
that's why it's important for people to come out and, us to fellowship amongst each other.
Mhm.
And I want to say this too. May 28th is for us. It's
Mhm.
not for them.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? This is for us. It's
Yes.
something we need to do as community,
Mhm.
as our people, to
Mhm.
feel validated within
Mm.
ourselves.
Yes.
This is not for LMPD. This ain't
Thank
for
you.
Metro Council. This is
Mhm.
not for them. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And that's why, specifically when we started, organizing for this, that we're not going to invite the local news media.
Mhm.
Like, we don't want y'all to show up with the
Right.
cameras.
That's
We
right.
want you to show up with a check.
Mm. Mm.
Waves 3, WLKY, WDRB.
Mhm.
I've done plenty of interviews,
Yes.
wasting time talking about
Mm.
this and that with no compensation. So,
Mm.
those days are, we
Yes.
just need to, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's why we create our own media,
That's why,
right?
exactly.
Oh.
Talk, we chopping it up.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, so yeah, so it's important. It's important
Mm.
for us to set foundations like
Mhm.
this, and
Mhm.
spread the word and say,
Yes.
hey, what they putting out,
Mhm.
that 2 minutes that y'all seeing is
Mhm.
just not it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's
We need
it's
y'all
cut
to
to pieces.
understand. Yeah, we need y'all to understand what's going on.
Mhm.
And if you don't understand, here, email me, call me.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
don't go off. And yeah, and mental health is so big.
Hmm.
And it's not talked about enough.
Right.
Addiction is not talked
Hmm.
about enough. Sex trafficking is not
Hmm.
talked about enough.
Hmm.
It's happening.
Yes.
Um, it's
Yes.
happening.
Yes. The Derby just happened. You know how much sex trafficking happens during the Derby?
A lot. It's the worst weekend of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah,
In this country.
in the country. Yeah,
Yes.
outside of New Year's Eve, I think it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
the Derby
the
is
Derby.
the highest sex traffic weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to say about this community commitment Louisville's
Mhm.
consent decree is I do not understand why Families United, why you, Bianca Austin, were not part of this because you've been doing research. You've been talking to
Yeah.
folks all across this country
All
about
across the
consent
country.
decrees. You
Yeah.
brought me into a conversation with someone, an
Yeah.
expert in consent decrees. You've been doing the research,
Mhm.
talking to folks, building community, building relationships, making connections, and to not have you included in this to me is an insult,
Yeah.
right? It's an
Yeah.
insult. And then we have our proxies. We elect
Mm.
people to Metro Council
Mhm.
who should have been our proxies as well. Why didn't you, Mayor Greenberg, work with our
Work
members
with
of
our
Metro
members.
Council who've
Yeah.
been part of these conversations as well?
Mhm.
So for me, it's hard for me to
It's
accept
hard.
this
Yeah.
right now
Mhm.
because our community wasn't a part of it, but you slap community commitment at the top of
Yes.
it as if we were.
Big words.
Yeah, both, all caps. Um, so we're talking about community. So I want to shift to something before we go on another break that I feel like is connected. So
Mhm.
can you tell us about the State of the People tour
Oh,
that's
okay.
happening?
Yeah, absolutely. The State of the People tour is a national tour led by Angela Rye. So she's got members of Tanika Mallory, Until Freedom. We know them so well. They come here and Jasmine Crockett. Just they're going around amplifying the work in the communities that we're already doing on a national
Mm,
level. And so hopefully what we want them is to have those conversations with
mm,
Mayor Greenberg
mm,
since he likes to be in the light.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe he'll be willing to sit down with them
Hmm.
and actually talk about this community commitment
Right.
and answer some of those tough questions that we've been trying to get him to answer for the
Hmm.
past 3 years.
Hmm.
But that event is coming. It's a 2-day event.
Okay.
It's going to be at the legendary Simmons College.
Mm,
So please come out. Register at stateofthepeople.com.
okay.
You have to register. It's a free event, but
Hmm.
everybody still has to register
Okay.
just to come. But yeah, it's a 2-day event. They're gonna have a nice. The first day we'll be outside, kind of doing the same
Mm,
thing, a table, and
okay.
there'll be some speakers, light entertainment.
Mm,
The main schedule for the agenda will be coming out next week.
okay.
So just look forward to that. It'll be June 2nd and 3rd. A lot of committed chairs here are on the board for State of the People.
Okay.
So reach out to those chair members here
Hmm.
that's a part of the State of the People's tour here in Louisville and just come out, man. We encourage everybody to come out. It's another opportunity for us to fellowship, network, get those connections, you know what I'm saying, and just broaden our amplify the work that we're doing here in the community.
Yes.
So shout out to Angela Rye, for
Yes.
making that happen,
Absolutely.
bringing all the some powerful people to
Hmm.
get the word across and
Hmm.
come, we need like
Yes.
it's just like right on time. It's funny how things line up with each other.
And if anyone can do it, if anyone can bring us together, it's her. It's
Yeah,
Angela Rye.
absolutely,
You know.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
y'all, this is like the introduction to a summer of activism right
Yes,
here. I love
yes,
it.
yes,
Um,
yes.
all right, so we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back with Bianca and ask a few more questions before we close out. I'll ask if we have any comments or questions in the chat on the lives on Facebook or YouTube, and then I'm also gonna find that comment on TikTok that someone wanted
Oh,
me to
okay.
share with you. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, before we get back to the live stream, I'm Tracy, the bartender at Southern Hospitality Bar and Grill, located at 3402 West Broadway. You guys got to come and check us out. You can call your order in, and the phone number is 502-822-1474. Again, I'm Tracy, the bartender at Southern Hospitality. Come check us out, guys.
All right, y'all, welcome back. We're here with Miss Bianca Austin with Families United. I wanted to share a comment that somebody put on TikTok when I shared that I was going to be talking to you. And they said, if there was one single thing that I could say to her family, talking about Brianna, it's that your daughter's, your niece's life changed my life for the better. And I feel that all the time when I'm working with people. So just wanted you to know that 5 years later, there's that impact that
Yeah,
still happens with people, and they want you to know that.
that's
So that's
awesome. That's
important,
amazing.
right? 'Cause it's
Yeah,
a movement, like you
yeah.
said.
That's what's fueling us right there.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely appreciate that.
So, we talked about the consent decree. We talked about May 28th. We talked about so much. Can you, in your words, tell us what justice means to you and what does it look like in action?
Man, justice just when 5 years ago it just it was just accountability, just doing the right thing,
Yes.
but as you as you just learn and just go, it's just like, what is justice?
Mm,
What is it?
mm,
It's different for everybody. We
yes.
all have a different fight,
Hmm.
So justice is whatever fulfills you.
Mm,
So
okay.
yeah, I'll leave it with that
I
because
love that.
sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean legal,
Hmm. That's
you
right.
know,
Yes.
because right now legally,
Hmm.
will we get justice? No,
Right.
we're still waiting on 4 officers to go to jail.
Mm, hmm.
So, but can justice be fulfilled other ways?
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. So, yeah.
And so, for people who may be um, either tuning in for the first time to a conversation with you or who may not have followed the movement as closely, you mentioned the 4 officers. So, has anyone been fired, arrested, charged for the murder of Breonna Taylor?
So back in December of 24, Brett Hankinson was found guilty by a grand jury. So he was supposed to go in sentencing in March. Of course, it was pushed back. And that now, since the DOJ have dropped all these charges in proceedings, court proceedings, we don't know what it looks like. Along with Joshua James, Kyle Meaning, and what's the lady's name? I
Oh,
forget her
yes.
name. But yeah, Jessica James. So I mean, no, what's her name? Oh Lord, I can't remember her name. I got a brain fart.
Kelly
It'll
came to
come to
mind,
me.
but yeah.
But yeah, you know, it was just like you finally, was able to get them on the stand. It is still in black and white. We did was able to know what actually happened that night.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we're gonna keep the faith.
That's right.
Only God can.
Hmm.
At the end of the day,
Yes,
we all gonna have to meet Judgment Day. So
that's
Kelly
right.
Gottlieb, that's her
Yeah,
name.
okay.
Kelly
Yeah, I said
Gottlieb.
Kelly, and I couldn't remember
Yeah.
the last
So
name.
yeah,
Okay.
Kelly Gottlieb. She actually pled guilty and was
Mm,
supposed to testify.
okay.
So I mean, we they left us out here. So
Hmm.
hopefully, we'll just try to keep our pedal to the metal.
Hmm.
Continue to advocate and make changes, and continue doing what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Thank you for that. Um, I like to end with a call to action. So, is there anything we either haven't covered or that you want to repeat or that you want to share for folks as your call to action to people who are watching?
My call to action would be for everyone is to get involved in something. That's my call to action. Whether you helping kids out, whether you're helping the elderly, you're doing some volunteer work, get involved in your churches, whether you're doing something. Community is important. We need to start honoring our neighbor because if we're going to be put in a situation where all we're going to have is us.
Mm-hmm.
So, my call to action is just stay active,
Mm-hmm.
be active, be proactive.
That's so important. Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely.
All right. Okay, so now it's my turn to be in the hot seat. So
Yeah.
this is called Ask Attica. So I like for my favorite people to ask me questions at the end of our conversation.
Okay.
So do you have any questions you want to ask me?
Okay, just only two.
Okay.
And I always like to ask how are you?
Oh,
How
yes,
have you been?
yes.
How are you progressing? How are you dealing
Mm,
with 2025?
yes.
And what brings you joy?
Okay. What brings me joy is spending time with my kids for the most
Mm.
part. I love spending time with family, friends, but my
Mhm.
kids,
Kids.
there's nothing like it. They're
Yeah.
both in their 20s now, so we've had this journey together,
Different.
and
Ain't
it's
it?
different. The conversations are different. The time together is
And my daughter
different.
actually talks to
You did
me.
right. Yes, yes. And they want to travel with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let me
Okay.
soak this up right now while I can, because things
Yeah.
might change. So
Absolutely.
that brings me joy.
Absolutely.
And then how am I feeling? So I'm a woman of faith, very,
Mhm.
very
Absolutely.
spiritual. A member of Greater
And then
Friendship.
I didn't know we was the same member. We're members at the same
Greater
church.
Friendship.
Yes. I
Greater
didn't even
Friendship
know if
Baptist Church.
you knew that.
I did not know you remember. I
Yeah,
knew
Derek, Pastor
Big,
Miles.
Big Papa.
Yeah.
Big Papa.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So I didn't even know if you knew
I
that.
did not know
Yes,
that.
we're both
No.
members. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So our church has multiple services.
Mhm.
Um, but this being a woman of faith has
Mhm.
allowed me to put 2025 in perspective. There's only so much I can do.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I can to the best of my ability.
Mhm.
What I can't do, I can't do. What I can't
Can't worry
control, I
about it.
can't control.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
okay. Yeah.
So that has made a difference. My daughter has also said I need to live my soft life. My son has said it in his own way, but he's the
Mhm.
older one, so he doesn't talk like that.
Okay.
So I've been trying to do that as well. I love to
Okay.
travel.
Do you know what a soft girl area is?
I try. I'm not there.
I
I
see
try.
where I'm like, do you know? Because I'm trying to steal. What
I'm
is
not
that?
there. But people like us, it takes a lot
Yeah.
because how do we're activists, we're community
Yeah.
leaders. It's like
And when you get that passion about something, I can't let it go. I'll
we
be
got to
like,
figure it out.
yeah.
We got to figure it out. So okay, so that's where I am. Yes,
And if I could ask,
yes.
do you have any surprises or career changes or anything special we should be looking out in the near future?
I love that question, and I get asked almost every day.
Okay.
Attica, you can run for office again.
Mhm.
People want me to run at some level.
Okay.
For 2026, I really want to support women first and
Okay.
foremost, particularly Black women and other women of color running for office.
Absolutely.
Black people
Y'all
running.
hear that?
Yeah,
Y'all
I'm
hear? If
telling you.
y'all need a
Listen,
mentor
listen. I'm
and want to
telling
get
you.
out here,
Yes, yes,
she
and
said it. She
Black
said,
people and other people of color. I'm telling you,
yeah,
I want to be a support to you.
yeah.
So reach out. Let's have a conversation
Mhm.
because I've been there. I've
Yeah,
lost and
yeah,
I've won.
yeah.
Right? So
I follow you
I've done it
now.
both.
Yeah.
So I have a lot to
Mhm.
share with
Yeah.
folks, and I want to see us in office at every level.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and run. I know
Yeah.
you're gonna run one day. We're gonna put that
Oh,
out to the atmosphere. We don't know when
yeah,
it's
I
gonna be,
know. Mm.
but we know it's gonna happen. so,
I
but
got to
before,
get a little training first. I
yes,
get a little
yes.
prepping.
Listen, we need to start a training school. That's what we
That's
should do.
seriously,
Okay,
seriously.
maybe we'll
Yeah.
close on that and we'll
Mhm.
percolate on
A proper
that.
etiquette class.
Listen,
Running.
have you seen these people in office? They don't have
Yeah,
etiquette.
they don't.
They always look at us and want us to
Yeah.
perform above and
We come in
beyond.
overdressed,
That,
like, hey, I'm trying to know
seriously,
how to bonnet. No, I'm just kidding. But
for
like for
real.
real.
I
Yeah.
went
I
and
see
bought a
it.
whole new wardrobe to go to Frankfurt. And I was like,
Wait, what?
oh, well, that's how we do. Oh, well, yeah, I should have said so. But anyway, let me stop. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Bianca, for
Thanks
joining
for
me this
having
morning. I
me.
appreciate
I
you so
love this.
much.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
All right.
Anytime.
Okay. Thanks, y'all.
If you do nothing else,
If you do nothing else.
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 If you do nothing else.